Have you ever heard the saying, walls have ears? Well, in the small Nigerian village of Irigagbo, they had a different version, goats have ears. This is the story of a very special goat, a goat they eventually called Professor. Now, no one gave him that name officially. It was a name he earned. At first, Professor seemed like any other goat. He was brown, had long ears, and a face that always looked just a little suspicious. He wasn't loud. He didn't run around causing trouble. He just listened a lot. Every morning, Professor would wander freely through the village, a silent observer on his four hooves. He passed by open windows and under shaded trees where people gathered, and everywhere he went, people talked, they shared secrets, very private secrets. One day, he ambled past Mama Tawa's house. She was whispering to her friend, "I'll tell my husband the food money is finished, but I've hidden it under my pillow for a new wrapper." Professor, chewing on some leaves nearby, seemed to nod his head, as if filing away the information. Later that day, he found himself near Pa Johnson, who was speaking softly into his phone. "My dear, tell my wife I'm still at the farm. I'm actually at my second wife's house." Professor just stood there, chewing slowly, his eyes seeming to hold a silent judgment. His next stop was near the youth chairman, who was bragging to a friend. "That money for the village project. Don't worry, I kept a little something for myself." Professor moved closer, almost uncomfortably close, his listening ears twitching. The trouble, as you can imagine, was just beginning. A few days later, the entire village gathered in the square for a meeting. Suddenly, Professor trotted into the center. He walked straight up to Mama Tawa, who was sitting on a mat. He nudged her pillow with his head once, then twice, until it toppled over. A bundle of money rolled out onto the ground for everyone to see. The crowd gasped. Mama Tawa's husband stared in disbelief. And Mama Tawa, she fainted right there on the spot. But Professor wasn't done. He calmly walked over to Pa Johnson. Just as he reached him, Pa Johnson's phone rang. It was his first wife. Professor let out a single, loud bleat and stared directly at Pa Johnson. A cold sweat broke out on the man's forehead. He didn't even answer the call. He just got up and ran. The final act came at the next village meeting. The youth chairman was giving a passionate speech about community funds. Professor strolled up beside him and began to chew, not on grass, but on the corner of the chairman's leather bag. He chewed and tugged until the bag fell open, revealing stacks of money that definitely didn't belong there. The villagers erupted in shouts. The chairman, seeing he was caught, took a cue from Pa Johnson and bolted. The village was in an uproar. "That goat is a menace," someone shouted. "He knows too much. We have to get rid of him." They tried to chase him away, but Professor simply sat down in the middle of the square, chewing some grass, completely unbothered. Finally, the wise old village elder stood up and called for silence. "The goat has done nothing wrong," he said, his voice carrying across the square. "It was not the goat that exposed our secrets. It was our own mouths." A deep silence fell over the crowd as his words sank in. From that day on, things in Irigagbo changed. People became more careful with their words. The gossip quieted down. They started talking to each other instead of about each other. And Professor, he continued his daily walks, eating freely wherever he pleased. He was no longer just a goat. He was a respected and perhaps slightly feared guardian of the village's integrity. The story serves as a timeless reminder: be careful what you say, because you never know who or what might be listening. Thanks for watching.